Dear family, it's your cousin Pete, man. Look here, I pray all is well out there, man. We're going to get into this quick podcast right quick. Let me bring some people in the room. We going to bring people in the room. This podcast is titled, A House Divided Cannot Stand. This podcast is titled, A House Divided Cannot Stand. I'm working out here. I'm handling my business. I'm just want to give out some information. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if it's going to work. Oh, shit. It's far. Okay. Dear family, it's your cousin P, man, so black and so beautiful. I'm out and about, out of this town. I'm out and about, handling some business. Went and looked at a few boxable homes. Trying to cut a deal and buy shares in the business. I had to come do a lot of more research than what I originally did. But let's get into this podcast, man. I came out here, I handled my business. I'm representing So Black and So Beautiful to the fullest. I'm representing So Brown and So Beautiful to the fullest. Be back in the town tomorrow, but check this out. This podcast is 327, A House Divided Cannot Stand. This terminology and this statement is also in scripture as well as Holy Quran. But I want to give you a little information on how it applies to us in many different aspects in our lives. A house divided cannot stand. When I read this, you know what I'm saying, I looked at it from a broader perspective in terms of what is a house. And a house is where a family operates. A house is where a community operates. And when we deal with house, scripture reveals house is referring to the body. You know what I'm saying? A divided house cannot stand. And even with family, there's a heartbeat, there's a lung, there's a mind, there's strength in building a family. Each individual inside your home represents an organ, hypothetical. And if the house is divided, the body doesn't live. You know what I'm saying? If you're strong, but you got clogged arteries, the house is divided. If you're beautiful outside, but rotten inside, the body is divided. So, as I did a little bit more research, because I always do a lot of research when I do these podcasts, when I pick a title, understanding what a house is and how if we don't get the house together, destruction is bound to happen. And that's in any and every endeavor that in any situation that we indulge in. If the house is divided, the house will fall. You know what I'm saying? So from a health perspective, you have to have the house, how can I put it? You have to take care of the house, dear family. If you're consuming all these poisons in the body, you're consuming bread, wheat, no good for you. All this milk that has chemicals and preservatives, all this meat that has all, rotten ingredients in it, and you consuming it in the body, you're actually rotten internally and don't even know it until the body alarms you and tell you something is going wrong. You have a stomach ache. Your heart is not feeling doesn't have a regular beat. You're you're hurting all over the body. That's the body alarming you that something is wrong. The house is divided, because of the things you're consuming, so you're not feeling well. So when I'm looking at you, which is the house, you don't look too well. And it's because you haven't disciplined yourself enough to know what to put in the body and what not to put in the body. So once you start to consume, 3 meals a day, overwhelming the body with so much chemicals and preservatives, is rotting the intestinal walls, is clogging your arteries, is causing high blood pressure, is causing menopause and dementia and all these. Don't you know that all diseases come from food? Every last disease that man comes up or woman comes up with, it started by food. There are ingredients in this food, so you have to be very, and you have to be very aware of what you eat and how you eat. So, thinking about this podcast, there's a lot of things that we consume in our bodies that we shouldn't be putting in our bodies. And the house is divided, so we having all these phenomena. I'm gonna call them these issues that we're not used to. And it's only because of how you eat, dear family. You have to, if you're going to consume, poison foods, you have to start working out, open up the pores, let out the poison. The more you consume, the more you eat, you know what I'm saying, and don't work out, the poison stays in you and begin to rotten and deteriorate you within. So, dear family, a house divided cannot stand. So you fall in your bed to a sickness. You fall to you fall victim to diseases. We fall victim to illnesses that we can prevent if we eat right. A house that's divided will fall. What do that mean, dear family? The organs need minerals. The organs need the right foods. You know what I'm saying? We go according to taste and not by health. We have to start eating right, or the house will be divided and the body will fall. I was thinking about something else. A house divided. When a house is divided, hold on one second. When a house is divided, it cannot stand. If we are in relationships, friendships, and we're not reciprocating, we lack communication, too much of anything is no good, unbalanced, there's going to become an issue. We have to start discussing and talking about certain things that affect us and have a chemical unbalanced reaction, because the situation will be divided. You have to be able to recognize common ground, talk about the things that's bothering you, and also not only talk about the things that bother you, but also hold yourself accountable. Because if you're doing something to create something, that's a problem. Hold on one second. I keep getting all these messages that's throwing me off tonight. So it's very important, dear family. Quit pointing the damn finger so much. Sometimes it could be your mental state of mind. Sometimes it could be the lack of understanding that you have. And then again, it could be the individual that you're dealing with that ain't reciprocating the same energy that you give. But it's always in your best interest to talk about those things, because a house divided can destroy everything. Just be aware of that, dear family. you know, and balance is the key to success. So stop trying to win all arguments. Stop trying to, think you right about everything. Damn, this thing will not stay up. There's gonna come a time where you have to submit and say I'm wrong. In relationships, I've determined that there's some changes that's coming for Cousin P. When I look at where I'm at, the direction I'm going, too much of anything is no good. When you're doing too much arguing, you got to detach yourself from it. When you're doing too much of explaining to somebody, you got to detach yourself from it. When you're doing too much ripping and running, you got to do the total opposite of what you're doing to bring back the balance. Everything is balanced. If it's too much like this, you're going to tip over. And me personally, I find myself, I would never accept in terms of, you know, giving people opportunities and chances to hold themselves accountable. And, I don't mind holding myself accountable at all. Damn, I don't know why this thing falling. But there comes opportunity where sometimes you got to, detach yourself, and the house is divided because if you're doing too much of this, you got to balance it out with something else. And so I'm going to refocus and reposition myself. And I got something coming, man. So y'all better stay tuned because Cousin P about to refocus, rebalance because my house is divided and it cannot stand. I'm doing too much of investing, but I'm not pouring, you know, I'm pouring my energy and everything else but myself. I'm always ripping and running. Sometimes you got to stand still, dear family, and focus on self because if self ain't right, then everything around you ain't gonna be right. So that's one of the things that I'm gonna change as I, studied a little bit today in a statement of, house divided cannot stand. You know what I'm saying? You got to put energy in all places. Not just one place, but all places to balance it out. Other than that, dear family, I was just thinking about that. Hopefully I said something that you could relate to. I'm just talking today. I ain't really gassing like I normally do. Nevertheless, man, I did great business today. I'm out of town, did great business. I'm headed back to the palace, and I'm flying back out. Again, I'll be gone for a week. Hey, man, I'm just balancing out my life, man. And I hope that you do the same, dear family. Balance out your life, man. It's like a balancing book. When you when you work in 2 weeks, you know how much money to spend and how much money not to spend because you have to balance out your books in order to meet your obligation to your bills. Well, that's the same way with your life. When you consume so much of alcohol, when you consume so much of drink, when you consume so much of being miserable and tired, you got to find some happiness to balance it out or you will spiral out of control, man. You know what I'm saying? You have to be in sync and balance, man. So that's what Cousin P is gonna develop in what I do in my daily routine. Some things just got to be cut off. Some things just got to be shut down. You know what I'm saying? And I'm for change, and I'm always running to the fire. I ain't running from the fire because adversity always builds you. So understand that, man. Don't never be afraid to challenge yourself to be great. Don't ever be afraid. You know what I'm saying? Don't you do that, dear family. Don't you do that. But I just want to encourage everybody to, to challenge yourself to balance out whatever is going on, whether it's in your personal household, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in our children. If we cussing out our children and doing so much tearing down, we got to build up. You get what I'm saying? If you're spending too much money, you got to save some money too. My motto is if ain't shit coming in, ain't shit going out. Unless there's an investment to bring longevity. So with that said, dear family, a house divided, a house cannot stand. A house divided cannot stand. We have to balance it out. We have to iron it out. Too much of anything is no good. And so you will see the changes in my physical structure. Give me 30 days. You will see change in my mental capacity, in the way I handle situations. You will see a complete change because I really want to be the example of. You get what I'm saying? And it's time now. You know what I'm saying? God is telling me it's time now. I done did enough investments. I done did enough of other things. Now it's time to reposition and refocus on self. And sometimes you got to fall back from things that are not in your best interest at the time. Not, at the time, if they need, get away from all the miserable people. Get away from all them mad people. Get away from them people, man. They suck the energy out you, man. You know what I'm saying? Leave them people alone, dear family. Because all they looking for is to be validated in some form, some fashion, without being grown and mature themselves. Let them be who they gonna be. And disassociate yourself. And I'm gonna tell you something, dear family. When you pull away from distractions, you learn a lot about yourself that you didn't know. When you pull away from your distractions, you build in other areas that's in your life. I'm telling you, even the individuals that we hang around, you know what I'm saying? We always outgrow things. You always gonna outgrow the people who you was with 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago ain't the same people you with today. You either outgrew them, the conversation wasn't exciting no more. It didn't, relate to what you was doing in your times now. So you outgrow the individual. And it's okay to outgrow somebody, man. Don't let nobody tell you did them wrong and all this old shit, because relationship is you have to relate. You have the word relate in relationships. If you're no longer relating because one thinks this way and another thinks this way and don't nobody want to come to a common ground, then, get away from the situation. Get away from the situation, dear family. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. You know what I'm saying? There's other people that's going to come into your life and invest in you. You heard it from Cousin P. Peace. So black and so beautiful, man. And all I had to say is, a house divided cannot stand. Look at self first. It's called self-preservation. All right? Tune in tomorrow night. I'm going to get a little deep on it. You know what I'm saying? Tune in tomorrow night. I'm going to get a little deep on it. Anything anybody want to say? Tap in. Tap in, dear family. If you got something to say, tap in. If not, a house divided cannot stand. It will fall on you. A house divided means you got to get your shit in order. A house divided means that you got to start putting in principles and policies in your life and structure your life in a way where everything is flowing fluidly. Because if the house is divided and you over here, and that's why I say there's a difference between a baby mama and a baby daddy and parents. It's baby mama's idea, is baby daddy idea. But when you come together collectively as a parents, is one idea for the child. So the child is confused. A house divided cannot stand. It will fall. And that's why there are so many disrupted relationships among, And sometimes it's not us as the parents. It could be the kids dysfunctional, don't want to get it right, and think they know everything but know nothing. And sometimes we got to let life teach them. But they gonna come crawling back. With that said, dear family, I appreciate y'all, man. This your cousin P. If you got anything you want to talk about or say, DM me. I'm finna go handle some business. Peace.